Come on. I'm sure there's no sound, yeah? Hello, 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 hello. Come on. Ah, we are back. We are back. All right, ladies and gentlemen. All right, ladies and gentlemen, what are we going to do in this live? I'm going to react, or we are going to react on this media briefing from the DA. We all know the Democratic Alliance. The president there, as you can see on your screen on your left hand side, that will be John Steenhuisen. Then you've got Karabo. When it comes to the pronunciation of her surname, sometimes I bash it. I did hear that it's actually pronounced as How. All right. So and then you've got Helen Zille, Miss Helen Zille. On your right hand side of your screen, I don't know the other guy actually, but the guy who's sitting with Mr. Steenhuisen, I know him. So, this is a media briefing. This is also after Mr. Ramaphosa, what he has done with the deputy minister. He actually fired him, if we can put it very frank. That will mean he was removed as a deputy minister. Why? Well, because the guy was sent by the DA, as according to Miss Zille when she was interviewed, she did mention the fact that the deputy minister went to America under the instructions of the DA. Okay? So that means that Mr. Ramaphosa, well, I don't know whether she did say whether Mr. Ramaphosa knew or he didn't know. Okay? Now, if Mr. Ramaphosa then fires the deputy minister, there are two things that will come in your mind. It's either Mr. Ramaphosa knew and maybe told him not to go, or Mr. Ramaphosa didn't know. Okay? There is no way that he can just fire. I am under the impression that if he didn't know, if he knew, right? I don't think he would have fired him. But I think maybe he knew. They went and told him that he is going to America. Maybe he actually objected, and then they said, we are not going to listen to you. And then he went, all right? Chances are also Mr. Ramaphosa didn't know, okay? And maybe when he find out that he went to America and all of that, then of course he had to fire him, all right? Now, the dilemma here, it's one, guys, okay? People, when they look at Mr. Ramaphosa, they look at him as a guy, at the moment, as a guy who says who says one thing and actually do the other thing. Okay, not says the one thing, but who does something on your right or on his right hand and not do the same thing on the left hand. Okay? Now, I am going to react to this. There are things which I don't agree with them that they say, but also there are things that I agree with them that they actually said. Okay? That is very important. Remember, in this channel, we are not a channel where people, we are going to be biased, or we are going to be, because it's a DA, maybe you like it, and then, or maybe I like it, or maybe, I prefer it. And then when I am making, or when I'm saying my views, or maybe my opinions, and then I'm going to say them to favor them. On the other hand, even if I don't like the DA, okay, it doesn't mean that when they are right in certain instances or in certain things that they said, or maybe that they are fighting against, whatever, or that they stand for, not stand for, whatever issue that it's actually an issue that I agree with. I'm not going to say, yeah, because it's the DA, I don't like it, yeah, I don't agree. I don't agree because I don't like them. I don't operate like that, guys. That's why I'm not a member of any party, because I want to say my things the way I want to say them. I don't want to be biased, and all of that. Now, let's take a listen to this. Now, Miss Kaukau is going to introduce, obviously, Mr. Steenhuisen. And let's take a listen to this, guys. I hope you're going to enjoy this. Do me a favor, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not asking for much, okay? I'm not asking for much. All I'm asking for is just please like the video when you enter this live. I would appreciate that, guys. Please like the video. I'm asking. As I speak right now, I've got you guys. You are 8 right now. You were 10. Somebody left. 2 left. Please like it. Please like it. Before you leave or before you decide to, please like the video. Please, ladies and gents, like the video. Let me repeat that. Like the video. Okay? Like it. Even if you're not going to watch the whole thing, please like it. Alright? Anyway, let's get to business. Let's get to hear what they actually have said. This is going to be interesting. Obviously, guys, while we are listening, I'm going to pause there and there, and say whatever I want to say. Okay, guys, let's go.
My name is Karabo Khachau, DA National Spokesperson. Thank you so much for all availing yourselves for today's press briefing. Leading the press briefing today on behalf of the Democratic Alliance is the federal leader of the Democratic Alliance, that is John Steenhuisen, and then followed by the federal chairperson of the Democratic Alliance, that is Dr. Ivan Meyer. We also have the chairperson of the Federal Council of the DA, that is Helen Ziller, as well as Willie Okamp, who's also one of our national spokespersons. So I won't give you anything to bite on yet. I'll give on to John to give us the address.
Thank you very much, Karabo, and greetings to those of you who've made your way to the press conference, but also to those South Africans who are no doubt watching at home. Thank you for making yourselves available, and I do promise that we will be finished in time to watch our mighty Springboks crush the Barbarians this afternoon. My fellow South Africans and citizens, a year ago, the formation of the multi-party coalition, now known as the Government of National Unity, filled our country with enormous hope. It followed the decision of the people of South Africa to remove the outright majority that the ANC had enjoyed in South Africa since the historic elections of 1994. But in last year's election, the people of South Africa sent a very clear message that they no longer wanted the ANC to do as they pleased, regardless of the consequences for our country. The people of South Africa said very loudly that they were tired of corruption, they were tired of grinding unemployment, and that they were tired of an economy that had not grown meaningfully for decades. Instead of one-party domination that had been known since that election in 1994, the people chose something different. They wanted multi-party cooperation and collaboration. In short, the people of South Africa wanted to see things change. And it was based on this mandate of change that the Democratic Alliance, after extensive introspection and inward discussion, made a decision to join the Government of National Unity. However,
can I ask, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a question here. Please bear with me. Now, Mr. Steenhuisen says that South Africans, okay, the South Africans wanted, right, things to be the way they are right now, which is the GNU, obviously, or which is the multi-party what, right? Now, listen, guys. When people voted, or when people they were voting, right? I don't know if this was told before, or there's an information about if you vote this way, this is what is going to happen. If you vote this way and there is no one with a majority, this is going to happen. All right? I don't know if people knew that we will end up where we are right now. Now, this thing of politicians, all of them, politicians coming, especially the DA and the ANC, coming and say, yeah, you know, yeah, this is what the people wanted. No. People wanted the ANC. They were, okay, I don't know what they wanted. Because politicians, they behave as if they know what people want. People, they voted the way they voted, but they didn't know that we will end up having a GNU, or we will end up having sort of like a government that we have right now. Some of the people, they didn't even know what was the consequence of not voting for ANC, of not voting for the DA. They didn't know. All they knew was we are going to vote. All we are going to do is to just vote. And I'm not going to vote for this party, On how it happens, or on what happens after that. Angingeni mina. Angingeni. Ngiyovota phela. Yabona? Unfortunately, the ANC didn't get the majority, and then what happened? Then we ended up where we are today. But I don't think that a lot of people, if you told them that if you are going to vote in this way, this is what we are going to end up having, which is the GNU. They didn't know that. Okay? And maybe they thought that if the ANC gets below whatever percentage that gives them the majority, and then maybe it's still going to be a government, but not a government with a majority. But I don't know if they knew that actually for them to form a government, they need a certain percentage. And if they don't have it, they're going to have to ask for other people. Now we know we grow every day, guys. The democracy of South Africa, it's growing every day. It's growing every moment. Just like I've said before, when it comes to the things that are happening in South Africa, for example, that thing of Mr. Zuma, Nkandla, all those things of the court case, there was a lot of things that I have learned out of that thing. Okay, especially when it comes to legally. Okay, Mr. Zuma even today is still outside, and people, they thought that Mr. Zuma will be in jail by now and doing whatever, but he's still outside. And that is actually what you need to learn about the South African laws, that it doesn't matter how people say about you. They can say you are this, you are that, you are this, you are that. But at the end of the day, if the courts, they can't get you to jail, they will not be able to. Simple as that. Anyway, let's continue, guys.
Instead of upholding the wishes of the people by working in a collaborative, respectful manner with all parties inside of the GNU, the ANC has repeatedly undermined these principles. Time after time, it has slapped away the hand of cooperation and co-creation in favor of arrogant, narrow, partisan party political interest. Right from the beginning, the statement of intent was violated by appointing a bloated executive without consulting the DA on the other parties that were to be joining, in order to give the ANC more influence than the voters wanted it to have. President Ramaphosa has since signed destructive pieces of legislation into law that have far-reaching consequences for our economy and economic growth, as has been seen by the reaction from some of our largest trading partners. This was done without even the common courtesy of informing the fellow partners in the Government of National Unity about his intention to do so. He has presided over a disastrous budget process where the views and opinions of coalition partners were not taken seriously, and that the opposition to the ANC's proposed 2% VAT increase was simply waved away. There's been a refusal to enable a meaningful power sharing to drive collaborative growth and urgent reform of the country to create jobs. And that is why our unemployment statistics are sitting where they are, and why our first quarter of GDP growth has not come anywhere near the expectations that we would like to see it moving towards, the 3% that we've set ourselves as a target. And this week, without any significant forewarning or meaningful consultation, President Ramaphosa concocted an excuse to remove a DA deputy minister out of the blue because of his own failure to respond to a repeated request for travel permission. The hypocrisy of this conduct is even more galling when one looks at what sits around the cabinet table in terms of violations of law, of executive ethics code, and the ministerial handbook. It was the same President Ramaphosa who in 2020 issued a mere reprimand and salary docking to former Minister Nosiviwe Mapisa-Nqula when she flew an ANC delegation to Zimbabwe in a South African military plane. To make matters worse, President Ramaphosa has now also defied the 48-hour ultimatum issued to him by his largest coalition partner to act on corruption in his own ranks. This was a golden opportunity for the President to demonstrate that action against those who violate the expectations of them in public office would be taken consistently and fairly in government. By doing so, he has now actively chosen to protect Minister Thembi Simelane for her alleged role in VBS looting. He's also chosen to protect Nobushle Nkabane after she has actively misled Parliament. And he continues to shield a whole cast of looters implicated in state capture. Just this morning, less than 2 hours ago, instead of taking action against state capture, the ANC has cleared Malusi Gigaba, David Mashlobo, Zizi Kodwa, and Cedric Frolick from all charges against them. Now, despite this pattern of double standards and abuse of power, DA members of the executive have remained clearly focused on the task at hand, on our commitment to deliver to the people of South Africa and to play a meaningful role in creating jobs, growing the economy, and ensuring good, clean, accountable government that delivers for the people of South Africa. And the strides that we've made in a number of portfolios from agriculture, home affairs, public works and infrastructure, communications and digital technologies, as well as environment, and through hard-working deputy ministers like Andrew Whitfield, I believe has set a new standard of excellence for governance at national level. In some cases, DA ministers have literally achieved more in 12 months than ANC ministers did in 30 years. And perhaps this is the real source of the ANC's double standards towards the DA, because they know that the DA is succeeding. They know that the performance of DA ministers makes some of their contributions pale into insignificant. And most importantly, they know that the opportunities for looting and stealing of public money are shrinking wherever the DA is present and wherever DA reforms are implemented. This flagrant double standard that protects the likes of Simelane and Nkabane but acts against Whitfield proves that in the ANC's universe, the only things you dare not be are competent, honest, and hardworking. But sadly, this is not an isolated incident. It is about a pattern of disrespect, arrogance, and double standards. The ANC has refused to implement Clause 19.3 of the Statement of Intent that requires sufficient consensus to resolve disputes, directly undermining the GNU and the original Statement of Intent. And the President's now refusal to act against corruption within his own ranks, but singling out as a priority a DA Deputy Minister, risk confirming that his oft-repeated public commitment to clean governments is a sham. Until he replaces words with action against corruption within his own ranks, the DA sees no further point in wasting our breath in endless talk shops with the ANC. For that reason, the Democratic Alliance's Federal Executive, which met at 1 p.m. today, has resolved to withdraw from the national dialogue with immediate effect. In the absence of a president who's prepared to take action against VBS looters and state capture accused sitting around the cabinet table, it is clear that the dialogue will be reduced to nothing more than a waste of time and money.
I hope that Mr. Steenhuisen or the DA is going to do more than what he said, which is to withdraw from the dialogue. I hope that is the only thing that they are going to do. Because I can tell you, and I will tell you why, I think they are in a corner. The DA guys, they are in the corner, right? I'm going to play for you after this, okay? Stay with me. I'm going to play a video where Mr. Fikile Mbalula is speaking about this, and I can tell you guys, the DA it's in the corner. It's in the corner. It's sitting at the corner, and they can't do nothing. And I will tell you why. Okay, let's go on. But I hope that I don't forget. But they are in the corner.
To distract from ANC failures, and this explains why they are so obsessed with it. It's clearly an electioneering ploy at taxpayers' expense to gloss over the serious crises that they have plunged South Africa into. The dialogue also has no constitutional standing whatsoever to take or impose decisions. Frankly, if the President cannot even dialogue sufficiently and meaningfully with his own coalition partners, there is little point to pretending that there's any substance to an ANC-run national dialogue. In fact, the President has repeatedly promised a breakaway to engage with GNU party leaders. But a year later, despite several promises that this would take place, nothing has happened. After every single crisis the GNU has faced, this so-called breakaway or Bosbarat has been mooted, plans are made, but never comes to fruition. Similarly, a proposed breakaway for the Cabinet to deal with how we interact with each other as Cabinet members and resolve disputes and disagreements that will inevitably arise in a government made up of more than 10 political parties. A year later, nothing has happened. No breakaway, no dialogue, and no mechanisms internally to determine how we deal with disputes between each other when they arise. Plus, I make the point that we have already had a national dialogue last year. It's called an election. And the people said very clearly in that election that they do not want to have anything to do with ANC one-party arrogance or domination. So, effective immediately, and until action is taken against those corrupt individuals, the DA will have no further part in this process. We will also actively mobilize against it in order to stop the obscene waste of 740 million rand of public money, starting with a call on all civil society bodies in South Africa to join us in demanding that the dialogue not proceed until President Ramaphosa fires ANC corrupt individuals in the national executive, as well as other delinquents. Because the reality is, no matter what the dialogue resolves, no matter how many noble resolutions it may take, and no matter how many feel-good moments it has, nothing will change in South Africa for the better if we keep the same people around the cabinet table who have involved themselves in corruption, maladministration, and misleading of Parliament. The people of South Africa should not be taken for fools. They know that any national dialogue is utterly meaningless if it's presided over by the criminals and the corrupt and those who provide a safe refuge for them.
My work is easy because I use ClickUp. Here's how I keep track of all my tasks. I start my brain dumping everything I need to get done.
A second and critically important step that the DA is taking is to vote against upcoming departmental budget votes for the departments headed by Simelane Nkabane and other corruption-accused ANC ministers. And we will keep voting against those budget votes until those ministers are removed. In this way, the DA will strike a responsible and appropriate balance by allowing the broader GNU budget process to proceed to ensure the stability of the country, while forcing the ANC to act against those specific ministers who the public now demand are removed. I think it also bears mentioning that the DA will always act in a responsible manner and one in which puts the interests of South Africa first. The demonstration of that good faith was shown just this week in the National Assembly, where, despite the unilateral axing of Deputy Minister Whitfield, and despite the fact that the President had given me his word that I had 24 hours to notify Mr. Whitfield and brief my party about the step he was about to take, he simply fired off the letter sacking Deputy Minister Whitfield 3 hours later. Now, had we wanted to be petty, had we wanted to make this about positions over principle, it would have been very easy to go into the National Assembly and vote against the Division of Revenue Act that took place this week. It was very clear from the panicked reactions during my speech that the ANC did not have the numbers, and they knew it, to get that passed. And yet, as I indicated in that speech, we are a reliable coalition partner. We respect our coalition partners, and when we give our word and we make undertakings, we stick to them. We do not treat our coalition partners with the same disrespect that they have shown to us repeatedly. If the ANC wants support for those budgets, they must replace the incumbent ministers with alternatives that meet the very high standard that the President has set for himself now through the axing of Andrew Whitfield. A further step that was considered by the Federal Executive was the tabling of a motion of no confidence in the President. We understand the concerns that many South Africans have about what would follow or could follow if Ramaphosa was removed from office. However, I want to be very clear and honest that in the DA's view, the actions of...
So what would follow would be Mr. Mashatile, right? And then Mr. Mashatile will become the president. And then the deputy president will come still from the ANC, right? Because you remember the negotiations with the DA, they refused to give them the deputy president, I believe. And then Mr. Mashatile had to become the deputy president. So in other words, if Mr. Ramaphosa maybe loses, well, I don't think they will ever. They will never, and I repeat, they will never, ever, and ever, never, ever will they remove Mr. Ramaphosa in any way. Because if they do that, Mr. Mashatile takes over. And you know the relationship, right? I don't think they've got a good relationship with Mr. Mashatile. Okay? And the deputy president, if Mr. Mashatile then takes over there, I don't know, Mr. Who is going to be the deputy? Hey guys, I don't know. Politics is something else, man.
This last week, and the fact that Minister Nkabane still sits in the cabinet, our view is that the President is failing to uphold his word to act against corruption, and unless he does so, he is going to make himself indistinguishable from the RET faction in his own party. Now, while the FedEx decided not to table a motion of no confidence at this stage, it is clear that the DA is in the process of losing confidence in the president's ability to act as a leader, not only of the ANC, but of the GNU, of which we are the second largest component. I do want to take a moment to explain to citizens what this process involves, should it materialize in future. At every instance where President Ramaphosa has chosen to protect corruption accused within his own ranks while treating his coalition partners with contempt, he has sought to justify these actions by hiding behind something called presidential prerogative. He used the fact that the Constitution gives the president certain powers as a blanket excuse to take action against honest and hard-working members of the executive, while shielding those like Nkabani and others implicated in corruption and mismanagement. It seems that the ANC has never asked themselves the question about where this prerogative arises from in the first place. The president only has this prerogative because his partners in the government of national unity, without whose votes in parliament he would have been reduced to being a one-term president. Unlike the ANC suggestion that this prerogative is some form of God-given right, it was only conferred temporarily on President Ramaphosa, the leader of a party with barely 40% support among South Africans, by the very parties in the GNU, including the Democratic Alliance. More specifically, without the DA's numbers in Parliament, President Ramaphosa would never have had such prerogative in the first place.
You know, guys, one of the things that I've noticed about South Africa is the fact that we like to use big words, and we like to use words that, or names or words or whatever it is, to describe something. And in most cases, we end up not understanding what it means, right? For example, he speaks about the prerogative. It is a prerogative of the president to fire or not to fire, right? That means it's in his right, all right? That means when he fires or when he doesn't fire, that is his prerogative. Unfortunately, when that prerogative thing favors other people, then it's good. It is used. When that prerogative, okay, doesn't favor some people, and then they look at the prerogative thing as in like it's a bad thing now because it doesn't favor them. If Mr. President Ramaphosa, all right, can fire someone that they don't like, or any party that they don't like, any party, could be the DA, could be the EFF, whatever, that they don't like, right? They will say, when they are asked, what do you think about the firing of... Yeah, it is in the prerogative of the president to fire. But if the president used the same thing, which is the prerogative, to not fire someone that they don't like, right? And then they will say to us, when they are interviewed, yeah, no, you know, this prerogative thing, no, Mr. President misuse this prerogative. Why? Because now he hasn't fired somebody that they don't like. The problem is, guys, we've got some nice big words, okay? And we put them and we hear about them. But unfortunately, sometimes we don't understand them. All right. For example, I will give you a very typical example. I was watching a document on YouTube, and I was watching a document about Mandela, not about Mandela, about the struggle, okay, apartheid and everything. When the Freedom Charter was actually brought forward, or it was established, or it was written down, or it was whatever, okay, there is where it starts with a sentence that says, South Africa belongs to all who lives in it. What I didn't know, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't know that it actually says legally or not legally. Am I right or wrong? Because I heard that on that actually a video. I will check the video right now and I will play it, because it says that South Africa belongs to all who lives in it, legally or not legally. Right? That means when you come to South Africa, and you are not legal or you don't have anything, you don't have an IT, whatever, if you are here, I don't know for how long, and then it's like everything that belongs here, it's yours, even though you don't have a passport or you don't have an IT or you are not a citizen. That is in the Freedom Charter. That is why I've always said, guys, it is nice sometimes to come together, come up with things, but you must be very careful. You must think for the future. If we put this thing like this, or if we write this thing like this, what is it going to do for us in the future? Just like what is happening right now in the MK party, they have got a clause there. The clause says you can have a dual membership, right? That is why Mr. Zuma said, and also in the ANC, Mr. Zuma tried to do the same thing, and the ANC didn't want anything to do with that. They were like, you can't, my guy, okay? And then Mr. Zuma was saying, no, I'm still a member of the ANC. Now Mr. Shivambo is out of the MK party. And guess what he is saying? He is saying, I'm still a member of the MK party. And it's a clause, it's there. Now it's catching up with them, because everything you write down, everything you put down and you write it as a law, whatever it is that you decide to do with it, it is going to catch you up in the future. Now they are calling about, they are complaining or crying about prerogative. We've been hearing the word prerogative. It's in the prerogative of the president. It's his prerogative to fire and not fire. And when the prerogative now, it's against us, we want to jump up and down. We have to deal with it, because it's in the laws. If you become a president, that's what you will also have. All right? But sometimes we don't think, right? We just are excited. Yeah, this is nice. It sounds nice, right? When it happens, when it literally happens, then it becomes a problem.
What was ours, given by acting in good faith, is ours to take away when shown bad faith. And if the ANC fails to course correct, the federal executive will seriously considering exercising our constitutional prerogative by tabling a motion of no confidence in the president. I want to speak directly now to South Africans. Last year, you all voted in your numbers to reconstitute government and set our country on a new path. The DA honored your wishes and your intentions by ensuring that the statement of intent that formed the GNU was honored. We love South Africa.
Why did they write John Steenhuisen, and then under there they wrote DA federal leader, and then they wrote MP? Why didn't they say minister, you know? Or is it a minister? No. MP, it's member of parliament. Why didn't they say minister? You see? Guys, why are you doing that? He's the Minister of Agriculture, this guy. Can't be saying MP.
We work against tremendous odds every single day to act in the best interests of all South Africans. If this statement of intent had actually been implemented and honoured, the national government would by now be charting the course of reform and economic growth that voters wanted. However, because the ANC has failed to honour the agreement they signed, they continue to shield and protect corruption. Our withdrawal and mobilisation against the national dialogue, as well as our opposition against the budgets of corruption-accused ministers, is the first in a series of possible steps that are now on the table in an attempt to fix the GNU to align with the mandate that you have given all of us in the 2024 election. If the ANC wants to kick the DA out for fighting against corruption, well, so be it. But as long as ANC members implicated in corruption remain as members of the executive, misleading Parliament.
Please like the video, guys. Like the video, like the video. If you are 13, please put that like in there. I would appreciate that.
And committing other acts of malfeasance. The DA will not support their departmental budgets in Parliament, and we will not participate in the national dialogue. And if the ANC does not urgently change the way that it engages with its coalition partners, that we can fight corruption and start growing our economy and servicing the people of South Africa with good, clean, accountable government that delivers, well, then they imperil the very future of our country and our people. From the inception of the beginning of the GNU, the DA has always acted in the best interests of South Africa. It's now time that President Ramaphosa and the ANC do the same. I thank you.
Thank you very much, John. Colleagues, I will be handling the question session. We're going to take it in sets of 3. Please, when you are recognized, state your name, the media outlet that you represent, and I will then decide which of the panel members will handle the questions. I've got 3 hands here. The first hand was over there, Paul.
All right, let's talk about this. I want to talk about this, right? Now, the DA, they have decided that because of what is happening, right, they are going to actually withdraw from the dialogue. That means they are not going to participate in the dialogue, right? Now, the question is, that is why I said that what else are they going to do? Okay? Are they going to come out from the GNU? No, they can't afford that. And I will tell you why, guys. The DA cannot afford, they will not, even if they are forced, I don't think they will ever have a choice of leaving the GNU. Okay? I can say that boldly. There is no any other way they can do it. They are there, ladies and gentlemen. They know that if they decide to leave the GNU, it's chai for everyone. For them, not for everyone, for them, it's chai. Remember, guys, let me remind you, for those who have forgotten, okay? The DA, they made it very clear, especially when there were still negotiations and stuff. Especially Mrs. Zille was putting it very clear. The reason why we want to be part of this thing between us and the ANC, then you can call it GNU because of the other parties, but between us and the ANC is to make sure, it was very clear, guys, okay? Of course, he did mention that we want to make South Africans better life, blah, 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 but the main reason, and this thing is in my mind, every time I think of the DA and the GNU and leaving the GNU, I know, I am 100% sure they will never, they don't have a choice. They will stay there. It doesn't matter how abusive it may sound. It doesn't matter how abusive it may feel. They will not be able to leave the GNU. Because their aim in the first place was to make sure that they keep away the EFF and the MK party. That is their main aim. They did this. And unfortunately, if they leave the GNU, guess what happens? The EFF and the MK party, they come in. Because the reason why the EFF and the MK party, it's not part of the GNU, it is because of the DA. Right? And the reason why the DA is part of the GNU, it is because of there is no EFF, there is no also MK party. It was a choice that had to be made by the ANC to say, who are we choosing? Because if we leave the DA, we accept the MK party and the EFF, the DA it's gone. It's not going to be part of this. And you would remember also that also in the other parties, the small parties in the GNU, they might not maybe like the EFF, they might not also like the MK party, you know? And then maybe there will be some problems with votes and maybe, coming together, creating a government and stuff like that. But I can tell you guys, there is no way the DA will leave the GNU. If they leave the GNU, it's chai. They know. You remember what they actually said? Yeah, if you know, these guys, they are in control, this EFF and the MK party, if they come here and they create government, the economy will collapse. Right? That is what they are running away from. In fact, it's not even that, I believe. Their aim, as I've already mentioned, we don't want these two guys to be in this thing. Okay? And guys, I am under the impression, right, that if the EFF, especially the EFF, if the EFF can be in government one way or another, are you aware that it might not be as aggressive as it is now? Are you aware that they might actually come to a point to say, listen, we are in another position now. We need to treat things very careful. Because I don't think they will be aggressive the way they do. Because now, the reason why they are aggressive, I believe it's because of they are in an opposition party and they have to be very active as an opposition. Okay? But I believe that if they can be in power, I don't think that they will always think about the way they think now. You know, aggressive, this, that, and that. I think things will, I know that in terms of their policies, they will be strong, they will be aggressive, standing still on whatever that they believe in. But I don't think that they will be so careless. Okay, not so careless. They will be careless in terms of dealing with things. Now, the MK party, I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't want to talk about a lot. I don't want to talk a lot about MK party because MK party right now, guys, I'm very sorry, but it's still young. And when I say it's still young, you can see even the challenges that they are facing. You can see that these are the challenges of a small party, that is still growing. Okay? They still need to fix these small challenges and everything. They will grow and they will be matured and then they will be okay. That's how life is, guys. Whatever you start, even if you are an experienced person in terms of politics, when you start a new thing, guys, I can tell you, challenges are going to be testing you. You cannot be on top there without being tested. You need to be tested for you to be used, for you to be in a good position. Okay? Now, I am saying it again. The DA will never, ever leave the GNU. And if they decide to do the vote of no confidence against the president, their aim for doing that, it will be maybe they will want to end up having the president. That means a president comes from them. All right? Because if Mr. Ramaphosa then is removed as a result of the no confidence, Mashatile takes over and maybe they can negotiate to say, we want the deputy president. But I can tell you the NC will not allow that. Okay? Now, let's go on with the questions. I want to hear the answers. Please, like the video, guys. Like the video. I would appreciate that.
Good afternoon, Paul Vecchiato from Bloomberg. The departmental votes on the budget. If those departmental budget votes don't go through, does the whole national budget then not pass? And secondly, does this mean that government spending goes down to 10% of the previous years? So, and I think that happens around about the 27th of July. So could you just give us an assessment of what would happen if the DA votes against those departmental budgets? Thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. Kevin Brandt.
Good afternoon, Kevin Brandt from ENCA. I just want to know from the DA, would a more impactful move not have been to leave the GNU? Because what if the sentiment from South Africans out there is that we actually back the national dialogue? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Vuyo?
It's the same question, Vuyon Vogo, Newsroom Africa. It's the same question asked differently. Why was it not a consideration to get out of the GNU completely?
Thank you very much. We'll take the next round of questions after John has answered these ones. We'll get through to everybody, I promise you. There's such a lot of hands here, so thank you.
Thank you very much, Paul. we won't be voting against the globular budget, and I think that is as a result of the fact that we want to ensure that delivery proceeds for the people of South Africa. But those individual budget votes where ministers are severely compromised and sitting at the top of those departments will obviously have to find other ways to get those budgets passed. The entire schedule will be put. If votes aren't, individual budget department votes aren't passed, they've got to go back to committee level and have to have a process that follows if they're not there. But again, exactly with DORA this week, we decided that absolutely it was important that we put South Africa's interests first, and that's why we supported the DORA going through that, despite the fact that we had been treated with the way that we had.
If you are an estate agent in the Atlantic Seaboard, this video is for you. When you've
No, a more impactful way would not have been to leave the government of national unity, because that would have opened South Africa up to the coalition of chaos and destruction, and would have led very, very clearly to more disastrous consequences for South Africa. I think that the national dialogue has already been met with a great deal of skepticism, and I think that the general public, a month after being told that they potentially had a 2% VAT increase because there wasn't enough money in the fiscus, and then have had to bear the cuts that have seen in the subsequent budget tabled, are frankly outraged that despite all of this, 740 million rand has been proposed for a national dialogue. I think that many of the foundations themselves have expressed deep concern around that. And I think that people need to understand that we can have as many dialogues as we want in South Africa. Goodness knows, we've spent the last 30 years having endless dialogues. What people now want to see is implementation and action, and people want to see those responsible for corruption being held accountable, because service delivery cannot happen if you have corrupt individuals at the apex of these departments. It is simply not going to happen. Everything then gets turned into a feeding frenzy for the connected few. And if you look at the uncomfortable questions that Minister Whitfield, Deputy Minister Whitfield, had been raising around things like the Transformation Fund, things like the IDC board, and also the way in which he has been significantly sidelined in the lottery, it is very, very clear why he was actually removed when people have committed far more serious acts of that. Voyo, no, we don't. We've said to South Africans when we went into the GNU that we're here for the best interests of South Africa. We do not believe that it is in the best interests of South Africa for the current GNU to collapse and for a coalition of chaos or corruption to follow, because the feeding frenzy that would then result from MK or the EFF getting into office and other parties will be significant. It also, if this government was to fall, would cause significant economic damage to the Republic of South Africa. We saw already what happened to our currency when the last turbulence occurred, and I don't think it's fair to South Africans to put them through it. However, the ball is in the President's court and the ANC's court. If they want to take a strong stance against us and want to stop us standing against corruption, well, they must fire us from the government of national unity. The President has made a big deal this week about his prerogative. If he feels that we've done something wrong and that standing up against corruption is something that deserves punishment, well, he must exercise that prerogative.
Thank you.
Oh, so the president has a prerogative. What? I didn't know that. The president has the prerogative of sort of like firing the DA. That means he can say, okay, we are okay with you. We're done. Okay? In other words, you are out of the GNU. Does he have that? I didn't know, guys. I didn't know. I thought maybe this agreement was based on, okay, we come together, whatever, and then, you know, we are not going to separate until the 5 years is over. All right? That means we are bound together until the 5 years. But now what he says, the president has a right, has a prerogative, as they use the word, to say, listen, we're done with you. You can go now. I didn't know that. But I don't think Mr. President will do that. I don't think so. I don't think so. I think also on his side, I don't think he will want that. And I don't think he can do that. In terms of what might happen if he does that. Okay? I don't know, man. I really don't know. Oh, I think the reason why the ANC maybe is afraid maybe to allow the parties, EFF, MK party, right? I think it's because you remember that the ANC, they always but they always mention the fact that they are a non-racial party. So in other words, they accept everyone, whether black, white, Indian, whatever, colored, whatever it is. They accept everyone. They can work with everyone, okay? They don't have a problem working with white people and stuff like that, okay? So in that manner, I believe that it can be a problem for the ANC if they only run with the black parties only. And then they will call them to say, yeah, but you said you were non-racial, but now you are all in black parties in the GNU. And then it's going to go back again in America. People will be running to America. Yeah, now we only have the black, you know. And you remember, guys, I don't know, but I think both sides, the DA and the ANC, they are in a dilemma here. They are in a position where I can tell you, and I know that Mr. Mbalula is very aggressive when it speaks, when it comes to to these things. He will say, yeah, they can leave. There are those that are waiting on the door. He is speaking like that because he knows that the DA will never leave. The DA, they will rather be fired. They will rather be taken out. But I don't think they will leave. And Mr. Mbalula knows that, and the ANC knows that. That they can do whatever, they will not leave the GNU. And they know, and they are using it against them. They are saying to them, yeah, you can go if you want to go. If you go, others are coming in. You know, they say it arrogantly so because they know that the DA cannot move. You know, and unfortunately, that's the reality of it, guys. You know, trust me, ladies and gentlemen. If there are people in the DA, members of the DA, maybe one day they talk in their meetings, and then maybe somebody might say, guys, we are being abused. Let's leave the GNU. They will say, no, wait. You can't say that. Nah, you can't say that. You know, I don't think that. I think it's just a problem, this thing. I don't want to lie to you guys.
Next round, in front you was a hand. I'll move over here. You'll be next.
It's Arthur from Heart FM. John, you've mentioned several times that the statement of intent which was signed by the parties last year has been undermined. Do you think perhaps maybe the GNU partners still have to use that same document? Thank you.
Thank you very much. In front here.
Thank you very much. Good afternoon. It's Nkosinathi Shazi from Power FM News. My question is, I have two questions. I want to speak about the identity of the DA in the government of national unity. Now, this is not the first time the DA has made threats. The Bella bill was passed. You guys made threats. The NHI, the expropriation bill. But you guys still remain committed to the GNU. And I hate to play devil's advocate, but does the DA need the GNU, or is it the other way around? You guys have moved from the opposition benches to a place of influence. You have 6 ministers, deputy ministers, and you're making a difference in South Africa. So why are you still in the GNU and not leaving? Is it because it is also beneficial to you guys? And secondly, my second question, have you guys thought of a replacement for Mr. Whitfield? Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Abra.
Abra Bobby of the SABC. The presidency statement said that the president won't be attending the symposium in Spain due to political,
political events unfolding in the country. Has the presidency made any contact with the DA leadership about a possible meeting? Because it sounds like he's sitting and waiting for something big to happen this weekend.
I have moved into a more prominent advisory role within my practice, and that is mainly because...
Okay.
Thank you very much to Heart FM. I think you ask a very good question. One of the problems that we have in South Africa is the very limited time that we have to be able to put coalitions together. And so the statement of intent was the best that we could do in that short particular time frame. Obviously, what you would have preferred to have is a much longer coalition document. When you look at coalition agreements in other countries where you have similar coalitions, these documents run into hundreds of pages. And they set out every eventuality and they deal with a number of mechanisms. I think it's worth saying that I think that the intent of the statement of intent is correct, but it would be great if that was being honoured. It is repeatedly violated. It says a lot about where we're at, that a year later we still have no conflict resolution mechanism, that the clearinghouse in the GNU has no terms of reference, and that despite repeated attempts or promises that we were going to have Bosbarats and get-togethers to bring cabinet together, to bring the leaders of the parties together, not one of those has taken place yet. And that makes it very, very difficult to raise matters within the government of national unity and within the party. Now, let me say very clearly that if one looks at Clause 17, it says there, and there's a recognition in there around the limitations on presidential prerogative, that appointments to cabinet are made in consultation with the leaders of the parties that have been given those particular slots. And it applies mutatis mutandis that if you're going to remove somebody, that a similar in-consultation process would take place. I wasn't even afforded the ability to inform Deputy Minister Whitfield myself about what was due to happen before he received a letter from the presidency. I wasn't even able to afford my FedEx the ability to be able to have the information shared with them before they had to learn about it in the media. And that is not respectful and it is not right. And so I would urge that if this is going to continue, that these items, particularly Clause 19.3, need to be taken seriously by the ANC particularly, and that the statement of intent needs to be respected in both the letter and spirit, and not simply treated as an obstacle. And so we would like to see that codified. I believe the GNU needs the DA. I think that that was very clear from recent interactions with international bodies, and the DA has always gone out to bat for the GNU, whether it's in the Oval Office in Washington, whether it's with international investor conferences, whether it's dealing with our counterparts abroad. And we have always put the GNU's interests first because we believe it is the best vehicle to deliver meaningful change for the people of South Africa. We've had a number of setbacks along the way, but you mentioned Bella. It is a DA minister now, Saviwe Gahube, who's doing the regulations on Bella. You mentioned NHI. We were able to get through the medium-term development plan, the more pernicious aspects of the NHI, including the collapse into a single medical fund, removed from the medium-term development plan. And so I think that the DA has had a number of successes within the government of national unity, and that the contribution being made by our ministers and deputy ministers who work jolly hard every day under very difficult circumstances shows that South Africa benefits from having the DA in the GNU. I think it has done a huge boost for investor confidence, and I certainly think that if one looks at the response and the sentiment from business, from industry, and from Labour, that the government has benefited from having the DA within it. Abram, sorry, I can't read my handwriting. What was your question again?
What was question.
Yeah.
Have you had any...
Oh, no. And this is part of the problem, I might add. We're in the midst of a GNU crisis. It would have cost the president absolutely nothing to say, look, I'm dealing with the following people. Or have done a omnibus shuffle when he removed Deputy Minister Whitfield. But what it now appears is that the sole priority of the president over the course of the last while has been to take action against Deputy Minister Whitfield 5 months after the so-called transgression happened, and with no, in the interim, sign to me or to others that there was a major problem. If we can't pick up the phone and have these types of conversations with each other, or provide an opportunity for us to ventilate these issues, instead of being simply summoned to a meeting and told this is what's going to happen, and then asking for 24 hours to process it through my own party, and having that completely upended.
Okay, tell me, guys. Now, I want you to put yourself in the shoes of the DA, or you can say Mr. Steenhuisen, right? Now, you are in a GNU with the party, which is the NC. You are the DA, right? You are the leader of that party. And then you send a letter to the president, right? Now, you do that because you are in a GNU, you are working together, and you want a permission, right? You send a letter to say, Mr. President, we are sending this guy to America to do 1, 2, 3, blah, 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 blah. We are asking for your permission to do that, right? The president keeps quiet, right? And when he keeps quiet, he doesn't say anything, he doesn't respond, it's just quietness. You as a leader of the DA, you as a president of the DA, now I want you to put yourself in his shoes. Let's say you are a president, you who is watching me. What are you going to do? Two options, obviously. It's either you send the guy, you are like, the president is not responding. Go, okay? Or you are going to wait until Mr. President responds. Whether he responds or not responds. If he doesn't respond, maybe you might say, listen, let's just wait until he responds. If he doesn't respond, he is not going. Or are you just going to say, well, he's not responding, it means he doesn't take us serious, you can go. Alright? Now, if you do that, we all know that any leader and every leader, when you do that, it's like you are disrespecting them. Because according to me, guys, if I've got because I know you will say to me, they are not our boss, okay? If you've got someone who is superior to you, and you have asked for something from them, and they didn't respond, they didn't say anything, what are you going to do? Are you going to continue doing it, or you are going to wait, or you are going to send another letter, or you are going to make calls and everything? And if it doesn't respond, you don't act, you wait until the guy gives you the permission. Because if he doesn't give you the permission, as the president of the country, it means wherever you are going, you are without his permission. That means you are not going to be representing him or representing South Africa in wherever you are going, because you don't have the permission from the guy. You may be asking me, if I was the DA, I'm the leader of the DA, I was going to say, my guy, just wait a bit, okay? Let's see if this guy is going to respond. Okay, we will try and call him. As long as he hasn't responded, you are not going anywhere. That is why where I am as a person with, maybe you can look at it and be like, as a human being, respecting as your superior, respecting someone who is a president, who is your leader, who is a commander-in-chief, okay, that's what I'm expecting from you, right? On the side of the president, I really don't know why the president was not responding. It's either the president was like, these guys, they are playing games. I'm not going to say anything. But it doesn't help though. If you are a president and the people that you are in in agreement with, I believe that he should have responded. He should have responded and said, listen, he must not go. There is no need for him to go there. Now, I don't know whether he went there before Mr. President went, or he went there, I don't know, but it should be after, right? Now, he should have just replied and say, Mr. Steenhuisen, please don't do that, okay? I am not approving this thing. And then it ends there. So that when Mr. President fires the guy, at least he fires the guy knowing that I told them not to send. But now it becomes a problem to me if they have sent the guy because you didn't respond, Mr. President. It's a problem to me. It means you are not also respecting these guys, okay? The respect, guys, has to be in two ways. That is why I said to you, I'm going to speak, and when I speak, guys, I might agree with the DA in some of the things, okay? I'm under the impression, Mr. President, you should have responded. I don't know if he responded and said no, but if you didn't respond, he should have responded and said no, and then it ends there. So that anything he does after that, there is a no. Now the DA is using this thing. He didn't respond. So, well, since you are not responding well, you know, that is why, guys, as a leader, man, I know that sometimes this leadership thing, you get emotional, especially in politics. Get emotional, yeah, you are angry, yeah, we don't like them, yeah, what. But at the end of the day, as a leader, you need to check your emotions, bro. You need to check them. Otherwise, you will make dumb decisions. Decisions that are going to cause you. Just check your emotions. Relax. Okay? I'm just saying. Maybe we will not be here. They will not be making a press conference if they didn't send the guy until the president. Maybe they could have even seen the president in parliament and go to him physical. I'm still applying my mind. You know the president, right? He takes long to respond or not to respond. Long to come up with answers. Not answers, man. When there is something that people need an answer for example, he always says, I'm applying my mind, and he goes forever and comes back later when you have forgotten. Then he makes the decision. He is very slow. And the DA, they should have known that. They should have given him the benefit of the doubt and say, listen, guy, we will wait for you. But don't take long, man. I think they have got a right to go to the union buildings and talk to the guy. My guy, why are you making us wait? We want the guy to go, just to represent us. Maybe it will make things easier. But anyway, that's what it is, right?
How on earth are we going to have discussions about some of the bigger and pressing issues that face us? And this speaks to the heart about the respect that needs to be shown. It cannot be that the ANC behaves as if they got a majority in the last election. They do not govern with a majority. They govern as part of a coalition of which the DA is the second largest party. And without whose votes, it's probably unlikely that President Ramaphosa would be serving a second term. We put our trust and faith in his commitment to clean, accountable government and to a spirit of cooperation. That has been observed in the breach continuously over the course of the last year.
Now, guys, I don't know, I might be wrong, but do you think, I think it was possible, right? For all the parties, the black parties, okay, not the black parties, EFF, MK, and maybe ATM, and maybe the other parties that are in the caucus, plus the ANC, right? If they came together, I am where I'm sitting, it seems like, I don't know, I might be wrong, it seems like they would have made a government, right? Now, if that is the case, then chances are the ANC didn't need the DA, but the DA needed the ANC. Why? Because the DA doesn't want the two parties to join to form a government. So the DA, they can say whatever they want to say, guys, okay? They can say, yeah, the ANC, they needed us. At the end of the day, they were desperate. The DA was desperate. so that those two parties, they don't form a government with the ANC. They were desperate that doesn't happen. And I believe that is their own agenda when it comes to government. They have to fight. Now, according to whatever, they have to fight. I believe that's their mandate. They have to fight that anything that happens in government, they must be there. They trusted the ANC because of Mandela. You remember Mandela, Thabo Mbeki, and then it was okay. Then when it started to be Mr. Zuma, then Cyril Ramaphosa, then this happened. So they had no choice but to make sure that they are there. In other words, it seems like the agenda, make sure that if there is a government and you know that there are parties in there that might spoil things, don't allow them. Because they always say if the other parties join, which is the MK party and the EFF, they join, then everything is going to be a mess. But they don't know for a fact. They are just speculating. Okay? They don't know. What if they come together and things work? I'm not saying they may work. You know, sometimes our people, man, guys, sometimes black people, they can disappoint you guys. I can tell you right now. And it's so disappointing that sometimes we want so many positions, we want so many responsibilities, but when we get them, then we spoil them. Okay? We mess up, and it's not everyone, obviously, but unfortunately, when it comes to politics, guys, politics is just something else. But anyway,
it simply cannot continue. The people of South Africa voted for change. They did not vote for more of the same. They did not vote for more of the Zuma years where the corrupt and those responsible for maladministration are shielded and protected. They did not vote for poor service delivery. They did not vote for ministers to treat Parliament with the contempt shown by Minister Nkabane and taking people in South Africa for fools that there were these committees set up to ensure that these cadres were deployed to the various seaters, where no doubt they would be prepared to carry on with their activities that they have been indulging in for the last 10 years. That is not change. That is more of the same. And South Africans voted for change, not more of the same. And as long as the DA is there, we're going to fight to ensure that the change happens. And that starts by putting pressure on the ANC and President Ramaphosa to clean up. It's no use sweeping outside the DA's doorstep if you're not prepared to sweep outside your own doorstep. Thank you.
Okay, now I'm going to do this, right? I want you to hear Mr. Mbalula, right? I want you to hear Mr. Mbalula. Okay, my ANC. I want you to hear Mr. Mbalula. Hey, I think I need to come here. I need to, let's see. Come on now. I want you guys to listen to Mr. Mbalula here when he was talking about the DA, right? I think this is him here. I want you to see and hear what he says, right? This is why, guys, I say the ANC, where they are sitting nicely, and they know that the DA, they cannot go anywhere. Okay? They know that, right? Let me just see if I will start it from 25, I think, if I'm not late or early, but I hope this is where I want to start it. Okay, come on, where is the network now? Okay, so I want you to hear him. Okay, just listen to him when he speaks about the DA. This will prove a point to you to say, actually, the ANC, they don't care now. All right, because they know the DA, they cannot move. We've got them with the, I don't want to say. Let's take a listen.
Passport ungene phuma nje. President.
Okay, let's start a bit. Let's start there.
President bekubalekile ayenze lanto ngoba ngumongameli wezwe lase South Africa kanovuma ukuthi South Africa ixangathwe ajongelele. ANC sayixhasa lanto yakhe yokuya pha. ngoba wenza into ebalulekileyo for umphakathi walapha eMzantsi Afrika ukhusela izwe elibizwa ngokuthi South Africa asinayo thina enye passport i1 nje South Africa abanye banazo zimbili umuntu uthe lapha abe omdlebe zikhanyilana abe seLondon passport ungene ephuma nje upresident funeka ikhusele icountry ayikhokhelayo naxa kagezelwa engupresident i-deputy minister ziphuma zingena zingamxelelanga ayontsomi lonto lefuneka ayigrogrise i-deputy minister noba yeye-DA lento ayenzile yafake laa ntwana yebhruku ezincinci endleleni i-right lana siyayixhasa naleyo ubaxelela i-DA ukuthi hey zisanomnye umntu uba ixesha liyahamba bamnika omnye umntu makalande omnye umntu upresident uba bamnika kodwa ko-president uzawukhokhela apha adelelwe zii-deputy ministers uMadiba wagqotha nditsho nonkosikazi wakhe umama lo wam ondizalayo uMadikizela uMadiba wamkhupha kwicabinet engumkakhe wamkhupha uButhabo engupresident wamkhupha uRotlish uza kuyiswa intoni uSiya upresident gezelwa nje intwana encinci nje ngoba izawukhuselwa iDA asikho marriage neDA sikwi-coalition funeka bayazi loo nto and sikule coalition not because we are in their mercy. We are in this coalition because we respected the outcome of the election for the interest of the people of South Africa. That is why we characterize it as a strategic setback. It's not a permanent feature. The government of national unity is not a melting pot. Sanixelela xa siyakhayo ukuthi there are 10 political parties. I-DA bingayifuni loo nto ndiyayibona ngoku hayi bebengayifuni. Bebefuna uswitsha. Basivalele koneni. Basigqibe. Sababetha ngento abangazange bayibona sathi GNU. Satshintsha amagera. Bangene etrepini. Simile ngoku nge-GNU. Kuthiwa ngabantu ke abafunde gqithi master class tactic loo. Abanye benu beningayiboni. Benimamela abantu ababakhani.
Yeah, so what I wanted to show you guys is when he says that with the GNU they made a trap and then the DA went into the trap. And I don't want to lie to you guys. The way I'm looking at it right now, Mr. Mbalula might have a point. I don't know guys if you were hearing me there. But I think Mr. Mbalula had a point there when he says that it was a trap. And it seems and it looks like it's a trap now, because now it seems like it's favoring more the ANC than the DA. Now, they are in the trap, the DA, they are in the trap because they cannot move away. All right? Especially the fact that they revealed, they revealed that the reason why they joined the GNU or they went into coalition with the ANC, okay? It was because of they don't want the other parties to join. The ANC used that to their advantage. They put the GNU, then they put other parties so that if the DA misbehave, we've got other people in the GNU, we can add other people. You see? Now, the DA, they are in the trap. He is right, they are in the trap. I don't know if they planned it, the ANC, but if they didn't plan it, I think it worked for them because now the DA, they can't move, they can't do anything. The only thing they can do is to just maybe maybe withdraw from the dialogue, whatever, because the dialogue also, according to me, the dialogue, guys, I don't think it will make any difference. And I don't think for them pulling out of the dialogue, it's a very high or a hard impact. It will have a hard impact. I don't think that by them withdrawing, it's gonna help. The other guy who was asking a question on the DA part, he actually said that, so what if the people of South Africa wanted the dialogue, they don't pull out. They don't say, no, it must stop, and then what then? Okay? Because that is very important, guys, because people, they think that they can just pull out on things as if like they are the ones who created them. It will still continue. Mr. Mbalula spoke about it, and he said that the DA wants to come out of the dialogue. That thing, it's for the people. It's for South Africans. You see? So I think the DA, because they don't want to go out of the GNU, the only thing they can use is to say, let us just pull out from the dialogue. And according to what I'm seeing, it's not going to make any impact. You know? It's not going to make any impact, even if they are there, even if they are not there, because according to me, that thing is just going to be people coming together, talking. We have been talking for a long time, and people still want to talk even today. They still want to discuss things. Just implement what's supposed to be implemented. The problem with us, with our leaders, implementation. I don't even want to lie to you guys. Implementation. I have said it before. People, they don't like Mr. Trump, right? But I can tell you guys, when it decides to do something, it does it. When it decides to block something, stop something, cut something, he will do it. When he gets the chance of doing it, he does it. Whatever decisions he makes it and he does it. That's a kind of a leader I believe everybody wants to have. Just like Mr. Traore in there. Changing things there, whatever, and things are working well for them in that place. Why? Because you make a decision, you stick to it, and then you implement. Okay, I'm going to do this, implement. In our country, unfortunately, I believe that there is somehow there is implementation, but the problem is this guy who is sitting behind the implementation, which is the corruption. Corruption is killing our country. Corruption is still going to kill our country, because anything that is good, that wants to be done, that people want to do, or whatever they want to do, which is good, somebody somewhere is going to see an opportunity to make money, and then they are going to be corrupt. That's the only thing that is killing us. Corruption. Chances are implementation is there, but corruption, there are people who are messing out. And I believe that maybe some of the leaders, not all of them, some of the leaders, they are even afraid of implementing certain things because they know they might experience corruption. And then it comes back to you as a minister. Now you have to defend people there. You know? So, I don't know, guys. The dialogue thing for me, I'm not holding my breath. I'm not holding my breath that it will make a difference. There's going to be things getting better, whatever. I'm not holding my breath with it, okay? But I can tell you guys, the DA leaving the GNU, that's the last thing they will want to do. They might just play around and be like, yeah, we withdraw here, we withdraw there. Blah, it will end there. More than that, they will never leave the GNU. I don't know after 5 years what is going to happen. Because according to what I'm seeing right now, the ANC, I don't see them coming back in terms of becoming the majority, in terms of governing. It's not going to happen. And I don't know what is going to happen in the next 5 years. Not in the next 5 years, after 5 years. You know? Because also the caucus, the other, what is that other part of the politics, the EFF, MK, all of them, what is it called? I forgot it, okay? So even them, they are fighting, there is all these things. It's just a mess, guys, okay? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. Thank you for staying in. If you stayed until the end, I hope that you liked the video. If you haven't liked, you can like the video before you leave. I would really appreciate that, guys. And then, yeah, anyway, thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen. You can tell me in the comments what do you think about this video. You can tell me in the comments what do you think about what the DA has said and what they have done. And what do you think, or if you were president of the DA, what would you have done when it comes to that guy, when Mr. President is not responding? What would you have done? All right? And where do you see the GNU going? All right? Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, and now they are busy voting for budgets. People are rejecting left and right, top to bottom. It's a mess. People are rejecting. and it's just something else. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for watching. You have a fantastic and a wonderful day. I think tomorrow I will do another live, and then I will be reacting to a portfolio committee. There is something that I want us to take a look that is very important that was said over there, and the chairperson of that committee was not very happy. You will see with the notification there, not a notification, I have posted it, it's still coming tomorrow. She was not happy. She was not happy. She was like scrutinizing the minister of whatever. Okay, anyway, thank you guys for watching. You have a fantastic day. I am out. Sharp, sharp, perfect.